So the first thing that you do anytime it says factor is the first step is you should always look for a GCF, no matter how many terms there are. If there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, you should always look for the GCF. So my question to you is, whenever you're looking at GCF, you're going to pick out the smallest number, okay? So 4 is the smallest number, and you're going to ask yourself, does 4 go into 12? Yes. Then that means 4 is the GCF. If you said no, then you would either look for another number that went into both of them, or maybe you would say nothing goes into it, so you wouldn't have a number. So 4 is the number we're going to use. Now, you're going to look at the x's. Do they have an x in common? Do you have x's in common? Yeah. Yes. To figure out what exponent to use, you always use the smaller of the ones that you have. So, which one is smaller, x to the 5th or x to the 6th? So we're going to put x to the 5th outside. This is now called our GCF. What is 4 divided by 4? 1. X 5th divided by x to the 5th? So our first term is 1. This is subtraction, so this is subtraction. What is 12 divided by 4? 3. And now you're going to subtract the exponents. 6 minus 5 is 1, which is x. So that's my answer. You guys, since there's no x squared, they don't have anything in common, you're done. That is your final answer for number 1. Then you would have had this would have had an x on it, and this one probably wouldn't have. So it would have just, the x would have been on the 1 instead of on the 3, if that happened. Any other questions? Okay, here we go. First thing that I want you to get in the habit of, I want you to look at 6. Always start with your smallest number. Does 6 go into all of those numbers? Okay, 6 doesn't have, so since 6 doesn't go into those numbers, and 6, if I went smaller, nothing goes into 17, so there's no number. Do they all have x's? They don't all have x's, so there's not a GCF. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to write A, B, and C. What is A? 6. What is B? 17. What is C? 12. Now we're going to multiply A times C. What is 6 times 12? 72. So I'm looking for two numbers that when you multiply, you get 72. When you add them, you get 17. So what are two numbers you can multiply to get 72? Now, you've already had time. So is there anyone that thought about other factors besides the one that actually works? Did anyone try anything besides the one that actually works? What did you try?
2 times 36.
Okay. 2 times 36 is 38. That one does not work. Tessa?
It's 9 and 8.
Did anyone try anything else besides 8 and 9?
6 and 12.
I would have started with 6 and 12 because that's what I multiplied. That's 18. That doesn't work. Yes?
1 and 72.
Did you try that one?
Well, that's kind of like first thing I thought of.
Okay, that's what I want to know. I want to know what you thought of before you actually got to the answer. Yes?
24 and 3.
Okay. I want to show you that it is okay if you did not get to 8 and 9 right away. Everyone thinks that that everyone gets to 8 and 9 the first time. No, not everyone gets to 8 and 9 the first time. What is 8 plus 9? 17 matches, so that's what I'm going to use. So now I'm going to rewrite the question. 6x squared plus 8x plus 9x plus 12 equals 0. So I took the two factors that I found and I replaced it for 17x. Anybody remember what we do now? What? Not yet. No, we don't want to combine them because if we combine them, we'll get the original problem.
Parentheses around 6
Oh.
x squared and 8x and then minus 12.
Yep, we group them. We're going to group the first two terms together. We're going to group the second two terms together. Now, we're going back to that GCF. So here's my question. Does 6 go into 8?
No.
Nope. So now we want to look for something smaller than 6 that can go into 6 and 8. Is there something that you can do that with?
6x.
Except 6 doesn't go into 8, so we're looking for something smaller than 6, and we said 2. Now, do they both have an x?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to pull out an x, and now I'm going to divide. 6 divided by 2.
3.
This, so you guys, you know you're going to have an x on the term if this exponent is higher than this one, so this would be x. Then what's 8x divided by 2x?
4.
Okay. Does 9 go into 12? No. Is there a number that goes into 9 and 12? Okay, remember, 9 is the smallest number, so if 9 doesn't go into that number, we're looking for something smaller than 9, and you guys said 3. Do you see that there's an addition sign in front of that 9? That means that 3 that I pull out is going to be positive. Do they have any variables in common? Okay. What is 9x divided by 3?
3x.
What is 12 divided by 3?
4.
Okay, we're almost done. What's my first parenthesis going to be?
2x plus 3
Okay.
equals 0.
And then what's my second parenthesis?
3x plus 4.
Okay. If this problem said to just factor, I would be done. Okay? If it just said factor, that would be your answer. That's the worksheet tonight that you have to do. The worksheet is based all on problem like number 2. But it has an equals 0, so that means I have to solve it. 2x plus 3 equals 0. 3x plus 4 equals 0. And we have to solve these. This becomes 2x equals negative 3. X equals negative 3 halves because I divide both sides. 3x equals negative 4. X equals negative 4 thirds. That is the final answer for number 2. So tonight's, that worksheet that I assigned on Friday is all going to be like that, and that would be your final answer. But because I said solve, I wanted you guys to do this. What questions do you have? Okay. The way it's set up, it said solve in the problem, you don't have to do anything except take the square root of both sides. And because you're taking the square root of an x squared, when you get your answer, you're going to have a plus or minus. Because it's a negative 20, I'm going to pull out an I, because the square root of negative is I, and I'm left with 20. But am I done? Can I do anything to 20? Okay. What are two numbers you can multiply to get 20? You could have done 5 and 4. Can I circle either one of those?
2.
Okay. What about 10? 2 and 5, yep. And we're going to circle 2 and 5. Do I have a pair of anything?
2.
2s. Okay, so the question in sixth period was, does that 2 go in front of the I or in front of the plus or minus? Because it's part of the 20, it's going to go in front of the I. So x equals plus or minus, so positive or negative, 2I, and what goes in the square root? That is your final answer. How did you guys do?
Will the I